If I told you that one of the most hyped healthy aging compounds right now is hiding in something as simple as a bowl of strawberries, you might look at your last dessert a little differently. That bright red berry on your plate contains a plant compound called Fisetin that researchers are studying for its potential to support brain health, calm inflammation, and even help your body clear out worn-out cells that no longer work properly. In this video, you're going to learn what Fisetin actually is, how it seems to work in your body, how to get more of it from food, and what to know before you even think about supplements. By the end, you will have one simple change you can make today with your next meal, plus a clear checklist of safety questions to take to your own doctor or other qualified clinician. Nothing here is personal medical advice. Always talk with a professional who knows your history before starting or stopping any supplement or medication. Let us start with the basics. Fisetin is a type of flavonoid. Flavonoids are natural color and defense compounds that plants make. They help the plant handle sun, bugs, and stress. You can think of flavonoids like tiny shields in plants. When you eat them, many of those shield-like effects may support your cells as well. Fisetin is one of those shields with a yellowish pigment found in small amounts in lots of fruits and vegetables, especially strawberries, apples, grapes, and onions. Here's one important point. Your body does not make Fisetin on its own the way it makes some antioxidants. It comes from your diet or from supplements. Your body can use it, change it, and clear it, but it does not manufacture Fisetin from scratch. That means your intake depends completely on what you eat and what you choose to take.
So how does this little plant compound seem to work once it is inside you? Researchers focus on three main actions. The first is antioxidant activity. Antioxidants help neutralize free radicals, which are unstable molecules that can damage cell membranes, DNA, and proteins when they're out of control. Fisetin appears to help mop up some of those free radicals and also support your own in-house antioxidant systems. Over time, that may help cells stay more stable in the face of stress. The second action is anti-inflammatory. In cell and animal studies, Fisetin has been shown to dial down certain inflammatory signaling pathways, which may help keep chronic low-grade inflammation from running too hot. Chronic inflammation is linked with many age-related problems, so anything that helps nudge that system toward balance is interesting to researchers. The third action is what gets so much buzz online. Fisetin is being studied as a senolytic. Senolytic means it may help your body clear out senescent cells. These are older cells that have stopped dividing but refuse to die. They sit around and release inflammatory and tissue-damaging signals, a bit like zombie cells. In mice, giving Fisetin intermittently lowered markers of these senescent cells and was linked with better function in several organs and a longer median lifespan. There was also early work suggesting Fisetin may help brain cells handle stress, support memory circuits, and protect nerve cells in certain models of aging and disease. Again, this is mostly lab and animal work so far, not proof that a capsule will boost your memory overnight.
Among common foods, strawberries appear to be the richest natural source. One analysis estimated that about 1 pint of strawberries could provide a few dozen milligrams of Fisetin, while most other fruits have much less. Other foods with smaller amounts include apples, grapes, persimmons, onions, cucumbers, kiwi fruit, and some leafy greens. Different labs get different numbers when they measure Fisetin, so it is better to focus on patterns rather than exact milligrams. A simple food habit that boosts your intake is this. Aim for at least 1 serving of a Fisetin-rich fruit or vegetable most days of the week. That could be a cup of fresh or frozen strawberries, a whole apple with the peel, a handful of grapes, or adding chopped onions to soups and salads. If your budget is tight, frozen strawberries often cost less and still contain these plant compounds. Buying what is in season where you live, choosing store brands, and using fruit as dessert instead of packaged sweets can all help you increase Fisetin and other helpful flavonoids without breaking the bank. So when might supplements even enter the picture? Right now, Fisetin supplements are popular mostly in the longevity and biohacking world.
People are interested because of the animal data on senescent cells and healthy aging. In human research, Fisetin is being tested in conditions like sepsis in older adults, kidney disease, and fatigue in older cancer survivors, often at relatively high intermittent doses, for example around 20 milligrams per kilogram of body weight over 1 or 2 days under medical supervision. These studies are still in progress or early, and they do not tell us the best dose or schedule for otherwise healthy people.
Over-the-counter supplements usually come in capsules of about 100 to 500 milligrams. Some products are simple powders. Others are liposomal or combined with oils or other ingredients to try to improve absorption, because Fisetin does not dissolve well in water and is poorly absorbed in the gut. You will see very different dosing suggestions online, from low daily doses to occasional high-dose bursts, but there is no official standard guideline so far. If you and your clinician decide to explore a supplement, there are some practical points to look at. Choose a brand that lists the exact amount of Fisetin per capsule, has third-party testing for purity and potency, and does not hide everything in a proprietary blend. Look for realistic doses rather than extreme multi-gram claims. Many Fisetin products are in a price range similar to other specialized supplements. A month of a modest daily dose is often comparable to the cost of a few restaurant meals, but prices vary widely. Timing also matters. Because Fisetin seems to absorb better with fat, taking it with a meal that contains healthy fats, such as olive oil, avocado, nuts, or eggs, is likely more effective than taking it on an empty stomach with only water. On the other hand, taking it together with a handful of other strong supplements, especially ones that use the same liver enzymes, could change how your body handles each compound. That is another reason to keep your healthcare team in the loop. Let us talk about who might think more seriously about Fisetin and who might not need to chase a capsule. There is no official Fisetin deficiency in the way there is an iron or vitamin B12 deficiency. There is no standard blood level that doctors check. Instead, you can think in terms of low intake of plant flavonoids in general. If most of your meals are beige, processed, and come from boxes or drive-through windows, your intake of Fisetin and similar compounds is likely on the low side.
A simple self-check looks like this. Count how many times in a usual week you eat a serving of berries, whole apples, grapes, onions, or other colorful fruits and vegetables. If that number is close to 0, food changes will probably give you far more benefit than any capsule. Also look at your lifestyle. If you have high levels of stress, little sleep, smoke, or live with high pollution, your body deals with more oxidative and inflammatory stress, so getting enough plant compounds may matter even more. When you meet with your clinician, you can ask about general blood work that gives context. That may include markers of inflammation like highly sensitive C-reactive protein, basic metabolic and liver panels to make sure your organs can safely handle supplements, and in some research settings, more advanced markers of oxidative stress or biological aging. These special markers are not part of routine care yet and are mostly used in studies. To make this more real, let us look at 3 example personas. First, the budget eater. Maybe you are feeding a family. Costs are rising and fancy supplements are out of reach. Your best Fisetin strategy is to build a weekly shopping habit around affordable sources. Large bags of frozen strawberries, on-sale apples, store-brand grapes, and onions for soups and stir-fries. Even a daily cup of a mixed frozen fruit blend on top of oats or yogurt moves your intake in the right direction. Second, the vegan or plant-forward eater. You already eat a lot of plants, but you might not focus on Fisetin-rich ones. You can rotate in strawberries when they are in season, keep apples as your go-to snack with the peel left on, and add red or yellow onions to cook dishes several times per week. Because your overall flavonoid intake is probably strong, you and your clinician might decide that you can focus on food and not bother with a Fisetin supplement unless new data emerge.
Third, someone living with a health condition related to aging, like early cognitive changes or metabolic syndrome. In this case, Fisetin should never be a solo project. You would first want the core basics in place, like blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol management, movement, sleep, and a mostly whole food diet. Only then, if you are still curious and your specialist agrees, Fisetin might be discussed as an experimental add-on, ideally in the context of a clinical trial, where your response and safety can be measured. Now for a reality check on the evidence. On a research strength scale, Fisetin sits in the early to medium category. There is a large stack of lab and animal studies that show antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, neuroprotective, and senolytic actions. There are some early human trials in progress or completed in narrow groups, sometimes with a few dozen to a few hundred participants, often over weeks to a few months. These studies help answer questions about safety, dosing, and short-term effects on lab markers. What we do not yet have is a big, long-term trial showing that Fisetin supplements help people live longer, avoid disease, or stay sharper into old age. Recent work is exciting. For example, Fisetin is being tested in older adults with sepsis to see if it can help prevent worsening illness, and in older cancer survivors to see if it can reduce fatigue. But those trials are still recruiting or analyzing results. We also do not know the best dose schedule, who benefits most and who might be harmed. Review articles keep repeating the same message. Promising biology, but we need more human data before strong claims.
So, let us look at safety, because that is what really matters for you at home. Short-term studies that use doses around 20 milligrams per kilogram of body weight for a couple of days, repeated monthly under supervision, report that Fisetin is generally well tolerated in the small groups tested so far. The most common side effects reported with supplements, usually at lower daily doses, are mild digestive upset, such as nausea, loose stools, or stomach discomfort. Some people also notice headache, tiredness, or trouble sleeping. These effects are usually temporary and go away when the person stops the supplement. More serious risks are less clear because we do not yet have large long-term safety data. Because Fisetin is processed by the liver and kidneys, people with liver disease, kidney disease, or heavy medication use need especially careful medical supervision if considering it. There are also theoretical interactions. Fisetin may influence certain liver enzymes and drug transporters. That means it could change how your body handles blood thinners, some blood pressure drugs, diabetes medications, chemotherapy agents, or immune-suppressing drugs. This is exactly why you must talk with your prescribing doctors before layering Fisetin on top. Special groups need extra caution because there is basically no good human safety data in pregnancy or breastfeeding. Experts generally advise avoiding Fisetin supplements in those phases and focusing on whole foods instead. For older adults, especially those who are frail and on multiple medications, Fisetin might only be appropriate inside a structured clinical trial where they're closely monitored. Clear red flags to stop Fisetin and seek urgent medical care include trouble breathing, chest pain, swelling of the face or throat, severe rash, intense abdominal pain, vomiting that will not stop, or yellowing of the skin or eyes along with dark urine, which could signal liver stress. Those signs require immediate professional help, not a wait-and-see approach.
Before we close, let us do a quick myth-busting lightning round. Myth 1. Fisetin is a proven anti-aging cure. Reality. Almost all the dramatic results you see online come from animal and cell studies. Human research is still early and no supplement is a magic clock reverser. Myth 2. If you eat one bowl of strawberries, you are basically doing a senolytic treatment. Reality. Strawberries are amazing and give you many helpful compounds, but they almost certainly do not reach the same Fisetin levels used in high-dose research protocols. And their benefits come from the whole package, not just one molecule. Myth 3. More Fisetin is always better. Reality. Because of limited human data and possible drug interactions, pushing doses higher without guidance may increase risk without adding benefit. With Fisetin, smart and measured is better than extreme. Let us wrap this up with a simple plan. Fisetin is a plant compound mostly known from strawberries and a few other fruits and vegetables. It acts as an antioxidant, may help calm chronic inflammation, and is being studied as a senolytic that might help your body clear out worn-out cells, at least in animal models. Your body does not make it, so you get it from your diet or from supplements. Food First is safe and brings along fiber, vitamins, and many other helpful compounds. Supplements are interesting, but still experimental for healthy people, with early human data and some unknowns about long-term safety. The one action you can take today is very simple. Add 1 serving of a Fisetin-rich fruit or vegetable to your routine. That might be a cup of strawberries on your breakfast, an apple with the peel in the afternoon, or extra onions and greens in your dinner. Then, if you are curious about supplements, book time with your clinician and bring questions about your medications, your lab work, and whether Fisetin makes sense in your situation. In the comments, let me know how often you already eat strawberries, apples, or grapes in a normal week, and whether Fisetin was on your radar before this video.